So guys, welcome to my 250 years into the future experiment with FM20 here on LS Plays FM. Now of course, those of you who have seen any of my experiments in the past, of course I've previously done one with looking at the Premier League finances and the Premier League TV deal, will know that normally the State Sports News logo will indicate that you'll be being welcomed by the State Sports News channel itself. Well, as of course we are 250 years into the future, I'm sad to say that State Sports News actually does become discontinued in 2090, and the reporter himself, he actually retires in 2069. So of course that's why we aren't being joined by them today. I did of course start to keep the logo and the music because it's worth noting that hopefully we will see State Sports News returning in the future for some further experiments, I would imagine. Whoa, what's happening? Hey! What is going on? Why am I not doing this? This is my job. I've just said, and you know why you're not. It's 2269. You're retired. You have been now for almost 200 years. You're not doing your job anymore. Well, if that's the case, then why are you doing it then? If it's 2269, how are you even still around? Shh. No. We don't ask those types of questions around here now, do we? We know that. Don't be silly. And anyway, why are you on the beach anyway? Well, I'm on holiday, aren't I? I mean, can't you tell? The beach, the palm trees, everything going on around me. Can you not tell that? I'm in a suit and tie. I mean, who doesn't go to the beach in a suit and tie? And also, what am I going to report on currently? All that's on football-wise is international football, and no one watches that. It's dull as anything, and I am not dull. Fair enough then, I guess. Anyway, you'll be back presenting soon, so stop worrying about it, please. Well, I better be. How on earth am I going to feed the wife and kids? What? You don't have a wife or kids. What the hell are you talking about? Oh yeah, sorry. My memory's awful. I'm always forgetting stuff like that and getting confused with things along those lines. It's really bad. I really need to sort my memory out. Well, just make sure though I am included next time, please. I do not want to miss out on too much. I'm so bored right now. There's just nothing for me to do. You will. Don't worry about it. Just be patient, please. I'm sure I'll have need for you in a few weeks, I would imagine. Yes, come on. Oh, I can't wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, I guess I'll see you guys soon. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Hey, what? No. We haven't finished yet, thank you very much. You know you don't fade out for him, so don't do it. Only I control that. Don't be ridiculous. This is my experiment, thank you very much. Right. Now I guess that he's gone, we can actually return back to normal proceedings, thankfully. As you can see, he's a little bit of a nightmare at times, but he does mean well. Unfortunately, you just can't control some of the things he comes out with at times, or some of the things he does. Hopefully, though, we will see him again soon. Let's get back on with the show and get this experiment started and see what is going on 250 years into the future. So here we are then. We are here on the 31st of May 2269. We are essentially exactly 250 years in. We're at the end of what would be the 250th season in the game. And my oh my, there is some weird as hell stuff that goes on 250 years in the future. There's some stuff which is kind of pretty much the same as what it was at the beginning. And there's some stuff which is entirely bizarre. And I just don't even know how to even explain it, to be completely honest with you. We've got a lot of stuff to kind of have a look through. I've had a look at some stuff, not much. This is pretty much my first real full look at the database. I've seen things about 100 years ago before we got to this stage, but I haven't really checked it properly in, as I say, about 100 years. It's probably about 2150 the last time I had a proper look at the database. So I've got no idea what on earth has happened now. I really haven't. But if it's anything like it was about 100 years ago when I last checked, we are in for one hell of a ride, that's for sure. Before we get into the actual database though, I just wanted to say to everyone who's watching that if you do like what you've seen today with the experiment, then please do chuck a like on the episode, and do let me know down in the comment section as well if you'd like to see part 2 or maybe further experiments on this, maybe further into the future, etc. And also if you are looking forward to seeing even further experiments that I might do, because I have got others planned, or you're looking forward to possibly my other content, then do subscribe to the channel as well to keep up to date with everything in terms of my content. I also have a lower league management save with Maidstone United, which I'm currently in season 3 at the moment. You should hopefully see a link possibly at the top of the video, which you can click on if you want to go and view the playlist for that. So if you are interested in that, then do go and take a look at that, and do make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get into the actual save though. Now, of course, the first thing everyone's going to want to look at is the Premier League. So that is what we will go to first of all. So we'll go straight into our Leagues in Focus page. You can see all the leagues are basically finished up. Some have got their playoff bits where they have the relegation playoffs and stuff like that. Some have shown the league tables. But we will go first of all straight away to the Premier League. And I can already see a weird figure at the very top of that table in the Premier League winner. And currently the fact that 22.69, the winner of the Premier League, is Chesterfield. Chesterfield, who starting what? Is it the Vanarama National, I believe? And they've gone all the way up into first place there for 22.69. So already we've seen some weird stuff. Now, I'm not surprised to be seeing Burnley up here, because when I looked about 100 odd years ago, Burnley were well and truly one of the best teams in the world, yet alone just in England. So by the looks of it, they're still doing very, very well. And I've also just noticed on this side of the page where it has the competition reputation, the Premier League isn't top. The Danish Super League is top. So I'm guessing that means we've got some weird things going on with Danish teams winning European trophies or something, because I don't think I've ever seen Denmark at the top of that list, but that's who we've got. So the first thing we will look at is the past winners. So let's load this up. So yeah, as I was just saying about Burnley, we can see a lot of Burnley on this list here, and this is just in the last 20 odd years. So of course the most recent was Chesterfield. See, actually Chesterfield have kind of been in and around it for a little while, and they finally won it, it would seem, after eventually toppling Burnley. We've also got Sheffield United up there, Tottenham, Newcastle. Man City is still floating in and around the top of the table. Portsmouth up there as well. Any other weird sides floating around who have actually won the league? Got Forest. Forest came back again, it would seem. Got Birmingham. Sheffield United would look pretty good around here. I do remember when I looked before, quite a while ago, Sheffield United were doing pretty well. So this must have been when they had their spell of dominance. Yeah, they won a lot of trophies there. You got Burnley, a good spell there for Tottenham. Wow, flipping heck. London actually finally saw Tottenham become the dominant side at long last. And then you've got Everton with some league titles. Man U with their last league title in 2088 and 89. As a Man U fan, that is actually quite painful to even think that they are going to go almost 200 years without winning a league. That's a pretty horrendous thing to think about. Chelsea being the other team from London to have last won one. I haven't seen Arsenal pop up yet. Looks like maybe Arsenal aren't going to be winning. Oh no, there they are. There's Arsenal in the late 2050s. So I guess Arsenal fans haven't got long to wait. Only about 30 years. Not too bad. For actually saying that though, Liverpool last won a league title in 2030. So of course, after all the big thing in real life this year of Liverpool finally winning their league title after what was it, 30 odd years? Well, not got a huge amount to look forward to them, because you're going to win the last one in 2029, 2030. You're not going to win any more for the next 239 years. So that might be a bit of a long wait there for Liverpool fans, if that is the case. Anyone else? No, that's about it. So there's not been a huge amount of actual winners of the Premier League, it would seem. I mean, I've seen some weird teams floating around in the runner-up spot. I just saw Crystal Palace in there. But there are some very weird sides in this list, that is for sure. Let's have a quick look at the record though. Who's won the most? I would presume Burnley must be pretty close, if not to have won the most Premier Leagues, because of how many times I've seen their name in that list. In fact, yes, they are. They've won 59 trophies. Oh my goodness. Considering the fact that before 2019, they even actually won any First Division trophies before that. Although they'd won 2. So they've gone and won 57 Premier League trophies since the beginning of the game. You can see as well, Burnley have won a lot in this. So we'll come to the Champions League in a little bit. Yeah, they've won 57 Premier League trophies in 250 years. So essentially 1 in 5 of the Premier Leagues have been won by Burnley FC, which is ridiculous. We can also see as well that Burnley hold the record for the most points in a season. You've got poor old Norwich there with 7 points, being the fewest points in the season. Oh my goodness, imagine that. Imagine only getting 7 points. Flipping heck. And Burnley also had the most league wins in a season of 34. Wow, that's ridiculous. And the most league defeats for a team actually was Sunderland with 35 out of 38. Wow. Interesting there from Sunderland. And yeah, there's some really interesting things in here. Highest attendance has been well and truly broken. The highest attendance ever is 136,217 attendance from Tottenham in 2236. I'll go through with you in a moment the actual stadiums, because there are some ridiculous size stadiums. There really are. And it doesn't look like any of the goal records have been broken though. Still the 60 by Dixie Dean, and the 5 is still the most in a match by Berbatov, and I think Jermaine Defoe, I can't remember who else got 5 in one game. But that's never been broken. As the youngest goal scorer, anything like that been broken? Oh, it has been. A 15-year-old for Newcastle scored. But the youngest ever player in the Premier League hasn't been broken. And certainly the oldest players, they'll never be broken, that's for sure, not in modern day football. But that's pretty interesting. The Premier League is massively different then from what we know today. I mean, other than the fact that Man City is still up there at the top, they're the only, and I guess Tottenham as well, they're the only teams really to have survived really challenging at the top there. Man U are still in the league, and if Man U have still got the same manager, yeah, Man U have been in the Premier League the whole time. They've never dropped out of the Prem in this, and their manager is a bit bugged. Sometimes when you get into later games in Football Manager, things do kind of bug out a little bit. And essentially, they've had the same interim manager for over 200 years. This Christian Barch, or however you pronounce his name, he was born in 2003 in the game, and it's obviously 2269, and it doesn't know what to do with his age. It says he's 100, but of course, he's actually about 266 years old, roughly, is that? Oh, no, not quite. He's 265 years old at the moment. So yeah, sometimes there are a few bugs. This is one of them. This guy has been at Man U for over 200 years. So... an interesting thing there, Football Manager. Man U are one of the few teams alongside City and alongside Tottenham which have never been relegated, I believe. As you can see at the moment, Liverpool have just been relegated from the Prem on an amazing 9 points. And I'm pretty sure Arsenal are not even... I don't even know if they're in the Championship. They might be even lower than that. Let's have a look. Where are Arsenal? I'll tell you what, let's just search for Arsenal. Arsenal, where are you? They're in League One. You can see here they kind of float around the lower leagues. Arsenal went out the Premier League years ago in this, I think. If we have a look at Prem. Yeah, they haven't been in the Premier League for over 100 years. So Arsenal are well and truly not a top side anymore. But let's have a quick look, though, at some of the other leagues, like the Championship. So let's have just a quick flick through and see who is where. So the Championship's just been won by Crystal Palace. Any weird sides now? You've got Gloucester, who are, Vanarama North side, I think, in real life. And also you've got Hereford as well. And also you've got Kings Lynn, who are Vanarama North side as well currently. Or I think they've actually just won promotion in the Vanarama North. And they're in the Vanarama National for this season, for the 2020-21 season going forward. So there are some very small sides in there, that's for sure. Any weird winners of the league recently? Not really. No, there's no weird ones in there. Kind of just names you kind of expect to see in the Championship, other than maybe Liverpool, of course. League One, however, who have we got? So Sutton United have just won League One. Fulham have just got promoted from it. Maidstone are in League One. Maidstone are actually not awful. Yes, makes a change. So you got Maidstone in the same league as Arsenal, which is just quite comical to ever think that could ever be possible. But Maidstone are in there. How have they actually done? They've kind of been floating around League One, League Two. What's the highest they've ever got to? Have they ever got to the champion? Oh, they have. They got to the Championship. They haven't been in it for about 30 years, but they actually were in the Championship for a few years here. So quite nice to see that, to ever think that could ever be possible as a Maidstone fan. I mean, I'll be well and truly dead by that point. But it's just quite nice to know that Maidstone might not always be awful. That's quite a refreshing thought. Any other weird sides in here? You've got Chorley, who are Vanarama National side. They're not great. You've got Bath as well. So there are a few small sides in these leagues, that's for sure. What about League Two? Any big teams down here? You've got Wolves. Oh, Everton have just been relegated from League Two. So Everton are becoming a non-league side. Any other weird ones in here? I don't see any other big names. I might be missing some. You've got Blackburn. But other than that, not really any big boys in that league, that's for sure. What about the Vanarama National, though? Any massive teams here? I mean, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen all the big Prem teams as of yet. Anyone in there that we can see who's got a big name? You've got Millwall down there. Millwall down in the Vanarama National nearly got relegated as well. Anybody else? Nice to see Ebbsfleet still struggling. That is quite nice to see. As a Maidstone fan, that warms my heart to see Ebbsfleet United. Oh, rubbish. That is what you want to see. That certainly is good to know. What else? No one else really down there, though, to be honest, in the Vanarama National. No big surprises. Vanarama North, anybody? Not really. No big shocks in that league. Not in the Vanarama North anyway. Vanarama South. Let's have a quick look at the Vanarama South and see any... Oh, Gillingham. Oh, Gillingham. Oh, you silly boys. Oh, dear. Gillingham... are in the Vanarama South. Oh, that makes me laugh. And Dover is still down there as well. Oh, it's like a perfect storm. Maidstone are doing well, and all the local rivals are all crap. That is good to see. But no big teams. I don't see any other big teams floating around. I think we did see all the Premier League sides. I don't think we missed anyone. Obviously, the big shocks really are obviously Arsenal being down there in League One, and the fact you've got, obviously, Everton have just been relegated from League Two. So, I mean, I don't really want to be being an Everton fan 250 years in the future. I'm safe to say that, with them getting relegated from the Vanarama National. Now, in terms of the Premier League stadiums as well, I just want to mention the stadiums. There's some really massive stadiums that are available in the Premier League. So I'll go through all of them one by one so you can just have a look at kind of the biggest ones in there. You got Chesterfield with their very creatively named Chesterfield Stadium at 73,000 seater. You got Ipswich Town, which I love the fact they're still playing at Portman Road, which is now almost 300 years old. In fact, no, it's almost 400 years old even. It's crazy to think that a stadium that old is still being used. You got Leicester City, which are playing at the Claudio Ranieri Park, 55,500 seater stadium, which I love that one. I adore the fact they call it the Claudio Ranieri Park. That is just wonderful. Liverpool is still at Anfield, still. You got Man City at the Victor Mar Jonasson Park, which is a 118,000 seater stadium, which he was an Icelandic striker for them in the early 50s times. He was a very, very good player for them in this, which is why they've named the stadium after him. Then got Man U is still at Old Trafford. You got Newcastle United at the Kevin Keegan Stadium, built in 2251, all 80,000 capacity stadium. It's worth noting that they built it in 2251, obviously like 250 years after Kevin Keegan had left Newcastle. So I highly doubt anyone at Newcastle at that point would even remember who Kevin Keegan is. But they named it after him regardless, so that's their stadium. You then got Norwich City, which are playing at the Francis Chukwuma Stadium, all 45,500 seater, which again is another player they had at the team, a regen player they had. Portsmouth are playing at the Jimmy Dickinson Arena, almost 90,000 seater. Sheffield United are at one of the biggest stadiums in the world, in the Jean-Loup Taylor Stadium, who is one of their players, built in 2164, 106,000 seater. You got Sheffield Wednesday at the very creative name Sheffield Wednesday Stadium, 65,500 seater stadium. You have Southampton still at St Mary's, so that is 260 odd years old now. You got Stoke City is still at the Bet365 Stadium. I like the fact that the Bet365 is still the sponsor after 250 years, and that's now 60,000 seater, so that's pretty crazy to think that it's that big. You then got Swansea City is still at Liberty Stadium, that's 45,000 seater now. The big one though, and I believe this could be the biggest one in the world at this point, is Tottenham Hotspurs with the Lily Ellicott Arena. Again, I presume that must be one of their former players who they had as regen, and it's a 136,000 seater stadium built in 2236, which is enormous. And as I say, I'm pretty sure that's the biggest one in world football at this point. You then have Birmingham City at the Trevor Francis Park, which is almost 70,000. You got Brighton at creatively named Brighton Stadium, which is 55,000 almost, and then Burnley at the Jimmy McIlroy Park, which again is up there with being one of the biggest stadiums in the world at 121,000. You've also got Cardiff with 60,000 at the Cardiff Stadium, and I believe that's all of it. I know you got Chelsea at the Freddie Joachim Stadium, which is 75,000. They were originally at the Frank Lampard Park, which has just been rebuilt into this one about 50 years ago. So they've had another one built in that time. But yeah, there's some crazy stadiums on offer. There really is. Just the idea of like 130,000 fans being packed in to watch Tottenham v Burnley is quite funny. And the fact it would probably be a sellout as well, considering the fact that both teams are such big sides. But that is the world we're living in 2269, with our 135,000 seater stadiums in London and our 120,000 seater stadium in the town of Burnley. So who the hell knows? I don't even know if Burnley even has a population big enough to fill that stadium. They probably don't. But there's some right weird stuff that's happened in this. Now, with this database though, I haven't just loaded it for England. The reason being is I wanted to see what would happen in other major European leagues. So I've also got loaded Italy, Spain, Germany, France and Scotland, and also the Netherlands. They've all been loaded, so we can all go and look at those leagues as well. So let's go and have a quick look. So what is going on over... Let's go look first of all at Scotland, shall we? So it would look like Scotland are still being dominated by Celtic. It would seem they've won 19 of the last 20 Scottish Prems. That's not really a surprise. Now, although it looks pretty normal, I mean, there's still a few weird winners. In fact, you've got Dundee and Motherwell up there. One of the weird things that did happen probably about 100 years ago in the game, because I remember looking at this and seeing it thinking, what the hell is going on, was that it wasn't Celtic dominating, it was actually Kilmarnock. If we go back to the early 2100s, at the turn of the century, you'll see Kilmarnock had a massive period of domination around this period of time. They had some more early on as well. Kilmarnock has got a massive takeover and had some, I think it was a Russian tycoon as their owner, and they were really, really, really good at one stage. And essentially, I won't get to it just yet. I'll keep it a little bit of a surprise. But they won a few trophies outside of Scotland, and they had a few good players. So I'll come back to that in a moment. Currently, Scotland is very much being dominated by Celtic as usual. But as I say, Kilmarnock were the team to beat once upon a time, and it was a very strange situation encountered in Scotland, that's for sure. Let's have a look at Serie A, though. It seems that Juve are still dominating. Let's have a look at the past winners, though, and just see if that's always been the case. So it was Juve. Juve won, what is that, 30 odd years worth of trophies, essentially. Flipping heck. You got Inter Spurs in there as well. You got Napoli. Then Inter had a lot of domination. And then I remember seeing this actually. Benevento became really, really good in this. Bologna were insane. You can see here, Bologna won so many trophies. They were crazy. They were, well, Juve levels of dominance, I suppose, with Bologna. And any other weird winners? You had Sassuolo who won one. Anybody else? No, it looks like it was then kind of the normal lot. You got Milan actually won one, Roma won one. So yeah, I mean, other than Benevento and Bologna, Serie A is pretty much business as usual. But it's been business as usual for the last 100 years. Before that, it was other teams winning. But yeah, it seems that Italy kind of ebbs and sways come from being very unusual to being just as normal as real life. But still, good to see at least other teams other than Juve are winning Serie A. Who else have we got to have a look at? We've got Ligue 1. So what's going on in France? Oh, we've got some different winners. We have in France. Oh, that's lovely to see that PSG... Oh no, this is the early 2020s and stuff. Yeah, okay, there we go. I was going to say, I thought I didn't see PSG on the list. All of a sudden there was loads of PSGs because I hadn't scrolled up. But it's nice to see that PSG aren't winning as much. It would seem that Lille, though, have become the new PSG. We've got a really small town. I've never heard of this team. Cretil. I don't even know how you pronounce it. Cretil? Yeah, they've won a lot of trophies, actually. They've won 3 Ligue 1s in the last few years, and they've won some French Cups as well. Actually, they only got promoted from Ligue 2 in 22-42, and they then won their first Ligue 1 in 22-60. So they've made quite a jump, considering the fact that they were in Ligue 2 not that long ago. So interesting to see that a very small side like that has kind of come up the leagues and has won Ligue 1. But yeah, Lille are majorly dominant. Marseille were very dominant as well. Then you had, oh my goodness, look at PSG there. Actually, I was saying that they kind of dropped off for a long time. Actually, yet even Paris FC got a few leagues under their belt. Wow, okay, that's quite good to see. You had a lot of strange teams winning. You had Montpellier up there. You had Lille. Again, Lille must have so many Ligue 1s by now. Bordeaux, Lyon, and then PSG. Oh my days! Look at that from PSG. That's crazy. Who has the most Ligue 1 titles? Okay, it's PSG. I didn't know if Lille might have taken that title, but no, it is still PSG. So fair enough there from them. With 85 Ligue 1s. I mean, it's not really surprising, to be honest, is it? That they have got that many. So Ligue 1 is actually different. That's good to see. What about the Bundesliga? So let's have a look. I can already see that Bayern won the most recent Bundesliga trophy. Anybody else? So of course we need to scroll all the way up. So let's have a look. So Bayern most recently had Leipzig. You had Hamburg. So Hamburg have kind of returned to their former glory days. You got Wolfsburg up there. You got Leipzig and Bayern really kind of dominate those proceedings though. Wolfsburg up there again. You got Schalke. Oh wow, Schalke were very good here. Flipping heck. Anybody else in that list? Any weird teams here? Dortmund haven't won in over almost 100 years. Interesting there. You had Hertha Berlin. Anybody else, or was that kind of where it ended? Was it mainly just Bayern, Schalke and Leipzig? It certainly looks like it. And Mönchengladbach. Anybody else or not? No, it doesn't look it. No, so Bundesliga is still very much business as usual as well. Bayern, Leipzig and also Schalke mainly were the main winners of the Bundesliga, that's for sure. Okay, what other leagues we got? We got La Liga to have a look at. I can always see that Real have won the most recent one. I know when I looked at it 100 years ago, it was still Real and Barca being dominant, so I'm not surprised to see them doing this. Have we had any more winners recently, though? We did have a Deportivo La Coruña, not this season, but the previous season. So actually, there is a different team. I've just seen them down here as well. So it's not just Barca and Real always winning. I mean, they have won the vast majority of the trophies, that's for sure. But There's a few Deportivos in there, so I'm presuming, did Deportivo have a Tycoon takeover, did they? At some point, I haven't recently. Can't see one. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just built a very good squad. Oh no, they did. They had a Tycoon in the early 2220s even. Cool. That's not easy to say. They had a Tycoon, so that's probably how they got to being quite so good in the league around this time. So that's why they're in there. But other than that, it is just Barca and Real. And Atleti back here, but only with, what was that, 3 trophies there? Yeah, 3 La Ligas. And that's it. Any others? They had another win there for Atleti, but oh my goodness, this domination from Barca. There's a Valencia there. Wow, that is just crazy. They've basically just completely dominated that. Other than what, maybe 20 leagues out of the 250, it's either Barca or Real. That's just insane how dominant they are. That's absolutely insane. I presume Real probably have, Real won 183 La Ligas. Flipping heck. That is obscene. It's absolutely obscene. Real Madrid are just disgusting. I like the fact Real play at the Eden Hazard Park with a 127,000 seater stadium. Very interesting how Eden Hazard is a Real Madrid legend enough to become the new equivalent of the Santiago Bernabeu. But that's who they named their stadium after. Not Cristiano Ronaldo. No one like that. They named it after Eden Hazard. Fair enough. Real Madrid. Fair enough. So the final other league we have, like major European league I had loaded up anyway, was the Eredivisie. I initially didn't load this up as I didn't really think I'd need to look at the Netherlands. However, I saw about 100 years into the game that Feyenoord were absolutely ridiculous in this. They had won an obscene amount of trophies and I had to load the game in just so I could have a look at them. So of course at the moment where it's not like highlighted in yellow, it means the leagues weren't loaded. So if we scroll up through here, you'll see Feyenoord start to dominate. As you can see, they won a lot of trophies here. And then eventually, when I realised how good they became, I then loaded the leagues in. So from this point onwards, so Feyenoord kept dominating and kept dominating. They finally got overturned in 22-16 after winning, I think, over 100 Eredivisie. In fact, it was well over 100. It was 125 odd Eredivisie titles in a row. They finally got dethroned by FC Dordrecht, who I haven't even heard of, and then PSV, a few other teams in there, and then most recently Sparta Rotterdam have become really, really dominant in this Eredivisie landscape. So it's quite interesting to see that. But the main reason I loaded them in is Feyenoord just won everything. Like, look at this. They even won Champions Leagues, they won Europa Leagues. So I was like, I need to load in the Eredivisie and see what the hell's going on. And I was quite pleased that we did. Because in terms of the Champions League, there have been some right weird winners. It is mainly kind of the teams you'd expect and some of the dominant teams in England and stuff. And then you get some right weird ones thrown in there. So let's look at the Champions League. And you'll see, currently, the most recent winners are Burnley, who beat Juventus on penalties after a 2-2 draw. That sounds pretty normal based on the fact that Burnley are, in this save anyway, the most successful side in English football ever. So that makes sense. But then you see, just on the right-hand side, already some strange winners of the Champions League in RB Salzburg, or Red Bull Salzburg, and Shakhtar Donetsk. That's not the weirdest, though. Oh, no. Let's scroll up. Okay, so of course we've got the normal winners. You've got Shakhtar, who actually have won multiple Champions Leagues at this point. You've got a lot of Burnley. You've got Real Madrid, always floating as a Barcelona. In 22-53, you had Rosenborg, as in Norwegian Premier League club Rosenborg. That's correct. You also had other teams, such as you finally had Benfica, finally broke their curse and actually won a Champions League. You had Chesterfield, which I just love the idea of Chesterfield winning a Champions League. That's just fantastic. A Vanarama national team winning a Champions League without a human manager in control of them. You had Red Star Belgrade finally won another Champions League. You had, who else? You had Feyenoord, as I've already mentioned. You had Portsmouth. You had Marseille. You had Trabzonspor, the Turkish side. That's correct. And I'm pretty sure they've won multiple Champions Leagues at this point. But there's just some really weird sides in here. Again, Trabzonspor, Spartak Moscow, randomly. Another Trabzonspor. You had PAOK Salonika won a Champions League. And it's worth noting they won it without any real players. They had all greyed out players. And yet they won a Champions League. I have no idea how. Absolutely none. And yeah, you had some real weird sides. But the reason why I mentioned Kilmarnock earlier is Kilmarnock, under their tycoon owner, won the Champions League. They also were runners-up as well 3 years before that. So Kilmarnock were a very good side in this save. Just crazy to ever think of Scottish football ever winning a European trophy in modern day. But they do under Kilmarnock. And that's kind of where the majority of the weird winners kind of tail off, because before this it's the normal lot you kind of expect to see. You had Bologna, who actually won one after their dominance in Italian football, but then before that it's all pretty kind of standard before that point. But yeah, there's just some weird sides. And the thing is, it's not also just the winners of it. The weirdest one I saw was the fact that the Icelandic side, and don't ask me how you pronounce this, I think it's like Breidablik, I've got no idea though, I've probably completely butchered that name, reached a Champions League final and were runners-up. It's worth noting they reached, I think, 4. They reached one there. Yeah, they reached 4 Champions League finals. An Icelandic side who apparently have got worldwide reputation. And it's also worth noting, they have, again, a completely greyed out side. It's all Icelandic but one player, which I just love, the fact that an entire just domestic team can reach Champions League finalists. And it's worth noting that some of the players they have in this side are disgusting. This guy here, playing for an Icelandic side, he's greyed out. He's a greyed out player. How is he? I don't understand. It's crazy, but I love it. I absolutely love it at the same time. It's so funny. It really is. But as I say, just some really, really weird stuff. And the Champions League's not the only one. You also have the Europa League. Look at the Europa League here. That Icelandic side popping up in here. You've then got a Finnish side who pops up as being runners-up. You had Slavia Prague. You got Slovan Bratislava, FC Steaua Bucharest. You got Malmo winning Europa League, Rosenborg, the Icelandic side again. Even TNS in Wales won a Europa League. No idea. You had Dundalk from Ireland winning the Europa League. It's just crazy. You got Crusaders, the Irish side, winning a Europa League. It's one of the weirdest competitions I've ever seen in this. There's some weird sides. You've got Hapoel Beersheva, Ferencváros from Hungary. It's just completely and utterly bizarre. I cannot understand it. It's just crazy. The Europa League has just tailed off into the most weirdest competition I've ever seen in Football Manager. Hands down, just cannot understand it at all. So, of course, we've looked at all of the major leagues. We've looked at the Champions League. We've looked at the Europa League. We've looked at stadiums in the Prem as well. And, of course, one of the other things people always like to look at, and I always find interesting, is transfers. So let's have a look and see if in 250 years, has the transfer record for Neymar been broken at long last? So let's go on to World, let's go on to transfers, and let's look at our leading transfers. So if we go on to here, it's a little bit delayed because the saves is a bit laggy at this point. It's not too bad, it is bearable. So the transfer record is now at £210 million. So I presume that does break the record, because isn't Neymar about 195 or 200 million? So I think that does actually finally break Neymar's world record. It took until 2039, so actually not that long. It was an Everton player, Casado, got signed by AC Milan. And the thing I love about this, I have actually seen this player already before. He was an attacking midfielder, and he's obviously the biggest transfer in world football ever. And he's Andorran. Like, what? How has an Andorran become the most expensive player in world football? But he has, and he left Everton after only being there for 3 years for £210 million. And became an AC Milan legend in this. So yeah, fair play to Casado. Very, very good player. There were 2 other players, I believe, over 200 million, I think I saw. Now you had Enrico D'Amico. Very nice rhyming name there. Or D'Amico, I'm not sure quite how you pronounce it. Went from Roma to City for 200 mil. And then a Greek player, presuming that name, Savas Salkalidis, from Palace to Liverpool for 201 million. So there certainly have been some massive transfers. Any real players on this list, actually? Oh, you got Bernardo Silva, went from Man City to Barcelona for 191 million. That is obscene. But I think he's the only real life player by the looks of that. I don't recognise any other players on there. No, I think he's the only other real life player. So literally the only surviving player on it is Bernardo Silva. Flipping heck. So the final thing I think we will take a look at is Ballon d'Or winners, because I want to show you kind of what the best player is currently in comparison to what obviously we have in 2020. So this is our Ballon d'Or winner. Our most recent one was a Burnley striker called Alexandre Jose. So we've got a Brazilian who's won it in 22-68. He's 25. He had 31 goals in 44. So let's have a quick look at him. How good is he? Okay. All right. He is very, very good. I wouldn't necessarily say he's like Ronaldo, Messi levels of good though, to be totally honest. Now, there's no 20s there for him. I mean, he looks like a really good player. How many goals has he scored? As if he's come from... He's been at Trabzonspor and Shakhtar. What is it with these two sides? They're crazy, those two teams. So, yeah, he had 27 in 36. He's not really been overly prolific, though. I mean, there's a lot of single digits there. And obviously, playing at Shakhtar and stuff, the game doesn't really load in the fixtures fully. But, I mean, that year for Trabzonspor, he did have 22 in 19. But that is the Turkish Super League, so you have to take that with a pinch of salt, really. But, well, fair play. He's very, very good. I do recall, I think I looked at this player here, this Jeffrey Spearings, who he often does appear in the list as Jeffrey. You can see he's got a few of them on here, and he often appears as runner-up and stuff, otherwise if he doesn't win it himself. And he's really good. He's a really good striker, Dutch striker for Chesterfield. Obviously one of the recent Premier League winners. He's got a very good record, 267 goals in 373 Premier League games. You can see on here, he is top-notch. He is kind of more the Ronaldo, Messi numbers we probably think of. And also, I think this guy here, Doru, yeah, he's up there with a couple of 20s. He's very good. He's 35, and he's still getting in the Ballon d'Or. So he's basically like modern-day Ronaldo. Like, just looking at him, he'd be like an amazing roundoid on that right side. He'd be unbelievable in this save. But just the fact of 35, he's still banging in 15 goals, 11 assists, getting a 7.69 average rating. He actually had an 8.32 in his debut year for Real Madrid in this, which is just crazy to even consider. But there are some really, really talented players in this, that's for sure. Actually, the only thing I will just have a look at as well is let's have a quick look at the Hall of Fame. Is there any real-life managers still on here? In fact, actually, yes, we have. Frank Lampard is second in this. So he's second in terms of being Chelsea boss forever, because I guess he must have stayed there. You've got Nagelsmann on the list. You've got Pep still on there. You've got Ancelotti still on there. Ferguson is gone, though. Ferguson has dropped off the list. Who is the best ever one? It's this Juan Antonio Osorio, who managed various sides, including Sheffield United, Spartak, Real, Lille, Eibar, Betis and Barcelona. So he is the best manager in world football, is Juan Antonio Osorio. I presume he retired a long time ago. When did he retire? Let's have a quick look at his history. He retired in 2136. So he's been retired in the game for 130 years and no one has since been able to leapfrog him. So he is essentially the best ever manager in world football after 250 years into the save. So guys, I think, to be honest, that probably just about wraps up our experiment here 250 years into the future. We can certainly say there have been some right weird things that we have come across, that is for sure. But the fact that some of those strange teams are winning the Champions League and especially the Europa League is just comical to even consider, and the fact that we've seen a Vanarama national team in Chesterfield becoming Premier League and Champions League winners is wonderful, to be honest. It really is pleasant to see. We've of course got Burnley becoming the most dominant team in British football ever with 59 Premier League trophies, and just seeing some crazy stuff going on, and of course the world record transfer being beaten as well. Just some crazy stuff, that is for sure. Hopefully though guys, you have enjoyed this experiment, and if you have, then please do chuck a like on the episode. It of course then lets me know that you've obviously enjoyed it, and of course it then lets me know that possibly about doing things like this in the future would be a good idea as well. Do also let me know down in the comment section what you thought of the experiment, and also let me know if you possibly would like to see either a part 2 maybe, or maybe even further into the future, because it's something I could possibly look at doing, that's for sure. If you do want to see that, then put it down in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see, anything like that. If maybe I've missed off where your team is, I could possibly try and find out what happened with them, things like that. Also guys, if you are looking forward to seeing possibly either some more experiments in the future, or possibly as well seeing some of my other content, I have a lower league management say where I'm trying to take Maidstone United from tier 6 to the top, then do subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of that content. You'll probably see on the screen in a moment a link to that save as well if you want to go over and take a look at that as well. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again next time.